Hey guys, Jacob with Jacob Comics. Happy New Comic Book Day, February 19th, 2025. I hope all you guys found all your books in your cubby, on the new comic book shop wall, mailed to you, however you guys get your books. I hope you found all the books you're looking for this week. I know I did here in the loud, mysterious black bag. I actually got 6 books this week. I think it's like the biggest week I've had in a while. I have to assume there's going to be probably only like 2 books next week. I don't know. But yeah, a lot of books landed this week. Marvel just had a heavy week. And one of my DC titles came out. So before we get dived into it, as usual, I do want to give myself a plug. Check out the Whatnot shows. I've still got CGC 98 mystery boxes. You get 5 exclusive comics as well with those. 2 virgins and 3 trades. Start that for just $100 for a CGC 98 slab and 5 exclusive comics. And I'm also like pulling out like all kinds of cool stuff from the collection. We're gonna be having a great time. Definitely give me a follow, guys. Some pretty big stuff is coming up. Now let's get dived into the loud, mysterious black bag, classic Jacob Comics motif, and our issue number 6. As usual, I've read all these. I'll do like a spoiler-free, my thoughts as we go through, and they're all listed in order from least favorite to favorite. So in the least favorite spot was all right. In my 6th spot, I have Incredible Hulk 22. Just what is there to say about Hulk right now? I really enjoy the art. Nick Klein is knocking the art like out of this world. I do sort of feel like this Philip Kennedy Johnson storyline is ever so slightly dragging on just a little bit, like farther than I don't know. So, I get where he's going with it. I think that's part of my hang up right now is like this issue sort of finally clicked why we're doing this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a little let down by that knowledge, I guess. Like it's just going in such a formulaic direction for me. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's like a spin that's gonna happen, highly likely with Philip Kennedy Johnson. But it's just taken us so long to get there. We're chugging along slowly. I have thoroughly enjoyed the artwork throughout the run, and the writing has been like kind of depthy enough that I'm not bored while reading this book ever, and so I'll continue with it. But I would like to see, maybe our heroes experience any sort of peaceful moments before we, it just seems like it's one thing after another, and we haven't had a lot of time to breathe with this new character who initially, like, I was like, oh, I really like this kind of younger girl character that's hanging out with the Hulk, and I think that still holds true. I think her name's Cassidy, and but I still don't feel like we've developed her character like very much. We've just something keeps happening. You know what I'm saying? And so there's not really been much character development, and we're still in the same place that we were on like issue 5, and here we are, issue 22, and I'm kind of waiting for the rest of this arc to start. And I think that's what we're getting now. I think I said that before. So we'll see. I don't know. There was also a splash at the end, some reveal at the end there that leads me to believe that this might be like a couple more issues before we finally get to that. And even then, will we ever get to it? Anyways, I went on forever on that one, guys. I have thoughts sometimes. In my number 5 spot, I've got Amazing Spider-Man 68, The 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. And really, really awesome Patrick Gleason cover. Loving that Patrick Gleason cover. And the interiors were also, I loved the art on this issue, and, give me more of Bracardo. Like, that, he's killing it. Killing it right now, guys. But, why do I have it in the number 5 spot, right? This is another kind of a middling issue for me. I didn't, hate it. I didn't hate Incredible Hulk either. I liked it, and I especially enjoyed the art. But this story just, it's just been hard for me to see Peter's side and kind of where he's coming from in this whole thing. If you guys know what I mean, like, it's hard to see his side. And what are you gonna do with the story going forward now? Is we're back to kind of square one, it feels like, where, big bad off in the horizon and we're gonna go take him down. And while that's cool, I actually was, oddly enough, sort of enjoying the meandering nature of this 8 Deaths of Spider-Man storyline. And we've taken an interesting turn with it. We have, and, there's no spoilers here, so I can't go into too much more detail, or it's hard to explain exactly why I ended up kind of liking parts of this book, but also just being like, well, duh. If you've read it, anyways, that's kind of my 2 cents on that topic. It was alright. I don't know. At the end, there was another, supposed giant reveal, but I honestly don't expect that to stick for more than an issue. But we'll see, guys, right? In my number 3 spot, and this is where the tables this week turn to books that I thoroughly enjoyed, from books that were kind of, not terrible, but, we're just kind of getting to the good stuff, basically. Having to get through the story to get to the good stuff. This one was the good stuff. We have actually spent a little bit of time getting through the story on Nightwing, and quite the story it has been. Very shocking to me to see a fellow YouTuber that I've been watching for a long time, watching for years now, Comic Book Corner 2.0, does like a fun top 10 books on League of Comic Geeks. So these are like, who is actually pulling it for their comic shop numbers. Not like full sales numbers, but how many people are pulling these books. And I was really shocked to see Nightwing in the number 1 spot for pulls this week. And cool. Like number 1 this week in the eyes of pull lists, and I had a blast with this one. It was really fun. I think Dan Waters' story is really kicking into high gear. We're getting a bunch of action and sci-fi / police drama mystery, and and also, I think like we know who's causing it all, right? But there's still some pieces to be uncovered, and exactly the whys, whos, wheres, hows fully haven't come into play yet, or at least, say, been revealed yet. And it's just really interesting, and something sort of happens towards the end of it that could be a surprising character turn, and if you've been reading the book for a while. And so that is why I had it in my number 3 spot, or number 4 spot, excuse me, because in my number 3 spot I've got X Factor number 7, a book that I just love. This book. Russell writes the craziest how do I put this? It's just such an interesting cast of characters thrown into what amounts to be like the crazy world that we live in today. You know what I mean? With all of its trappings and all of its glory. And I feel like of all the comics that I've read in the past 5 years or so, it maybe captures the feeling of actually today. Like, this is a book that's written in today's world. You know what I mean? It feels more like that than anything I've read in quite a while. And in that, it kind of has like an indie vibe to it, and it's just good. Like, I hate to see this title not last. I know it's not going to, because I see, I watch the League of Comic Geeks, the Comic Book Corner 2.0's top 10, and I see the numbers, and it's not doing crazy good, and so I'm sure it's headed for cancellation eventually, and hopefully they at least give it till issue 12, when Russell can finish the story arc that he kind of pitched originally, because it's a fun one. One last little throw in on X Factor. If you guys are reading it, I love Granny. Granny is so awesome, right, guys? Like Granny's hilarious. And please, if this title ends, please find a way to continue having Granny in a title. Please. Alright, guys. So in my number 2 spot, I've got Miles Morales Spider-Man 30. Man, I can't believe we're at 30 already on Cody Ziegler's run. I think it's Cody Ziegler's run, or is he just like guesting? Because I know Cody Ziegler's writing the Deadpool run. I didn't realize he was writing both runs. Maybe he is. I thought it was somebody else that was writing this. And anyways, Cody Ziegler writes this issue, at the very least, and this is part 2 of Pools of Blood, and this was fun, man. This sort of starts off showing you Miles's side of the events that transpire in Pools of Blood Part 1, which was Deadpool, I think 16 something. I'm sorry, guys. The last Deadpool issue that came out last week or the week before. It was a continuation of that. It's a fun story. I really like to see the other side of these two stories, and I'm just, I really enjoy the Shift character, and yeah, this was just I'm obviously a big fan of Deadpool and Miles, and so the two of these knuckleheads teaming up together, and Deadpool's daughter thrown in for good measure, has been fun so far, and I'm looking forward to the 2 more issues of this crossover event. I think it's fun. For once, I'm actually already getting the books that are comprising an event, and so I get to read a little mini event and without having to collect a bunch of additional books. And for me, that's also super cool about this one. It's like, hey, these are 2 books I'm getting. Already was gonna get them anyways, and I get to enjoy a crossover event. So in my number 1 spot, you probably could have guessed it. I've got it again. Uncanny X-Men number 10. Man, this stuff is good. I can't say much more. The new characters, I am so in. I don't know how she's done it. I'm so in though. Not a spoiler, because it happens in the last issue. I can't even say this because some people are reading like 2 months late on the app, and so I don't want to spoil anything. I'm not gonna spoil it, but doggone it, it's good. I can't wait till everyone gets to read this. You know, we're continuing to build these new characters and who they are. And I think this is a title that sort of excels at something I was kind of talking about earlier with the Hulk title and Hulk's little friend, Cassidy, I think is her name. Anyways, I might be getting it wrong. I feel like that's wrong. Whatever. See, I can't even remember her name. And this is like how you do it right. You know what I mean? Like, this is how you build characters and make people interested in these characters, because just like everybody, they have flaws that differentiate them and make them, you know, different people who you kind of want to root for and you want to see them succeed. And you know, one of the other great things that she's been doing in this run, I feel like, is pleasing the older fans, where, you know, like, without spoiling it, this doesn't spoil it, but we start off this issue, as we start off many of the issues, in the headspace of one of our original, or, you know, original X-Men. You know, it could be Rogue or anybody from that's been around for 2 decades at least, right? We start our in their head, kind of listening to some of their head canon and how they feel about the situation, where we currently are right now, and why they might still be there, or why they might be thinking about leaving, or why anything, why they belong in this story is usually told to us in the first couple of pages of these books, and so we get these vignettes, right, of all the characters that we know and love, to kind of start each one of these issues and sort of lead us into this story and get us attached, right? And as we're becoming attached to these new characters, kind of through the vignette of being in the head of characters that we've known for 2 or 3 or 4 decades, that's where it starts to really kind of, you know, show. And I don't know if I really even noticed it until this issue, that's what we were doing, but I think it's because we got a different character for probably the 4th time now that it kind of dawned on me. And maybe it's probably like the said 10th time now, because we're on issue 10, but anyways, you know what I'm saying? Like, it finally kind of dawned on me that, okay, this is a great way to kind of lead us into new characters. And then as we, you know, get into the book, we get some vignettes and some personal thoughts from one of the new characters. And that might change as we go to a different issue, but through as we are nearing, you know, issue 12, like I was talking about earlier, your first, like, story arc, if you will, what would go into the first trade paperback and hopefully contain a full story. we're kind of nearing that, and I'm super curious to see how a lot of this wraps up. And yeah, I don't know. It's just a really good book right now. The art is like always on point. I keep looking over here at it because it's just, you know, we've got the X-Men, man. You got Wolvie battling these crazy dogs that get sent out after him, and you know, we've got our new characters, Jitterbug and Death, and she's actually the least interesting of the characters in this issue. She actually started to become a little more interesting to me. And though like she was, and a lot of her story has been revealed, whereas some of the others we know less. And I don't think her name is Ember. I think her horse's name is Ember, but in my mind, like, she's Ember, and she has a horse and she rides. I don't know, guys. Anyways, I enjoyed it. I'm having a blast with it. Always been a big X-Men fan. If you guys actually stuck around this long in the video, I rattled on and on today. Super appreciate you. Come hang out with me on Whatnot. Get a bunch more of this. We'll see you guys next time, and have a great day.